Democrats losing the strategy, losing on messaging, and they're even losing the meme war. Hakeem Jeffries is infuriated that sombreros and mariachi music are all the rage on Insta and X.
Oh, I think it's funny. The president's joking, and we're having a good time. And I'll tell Hakeem Jeffries right now, I make this solemn promise to you that if you help us reopen the government, the sombrero memes will stop.
Then Jeffries responded, "Not happening, bro," and included his own lame meme of a baby-faced Vance. Of course, this is just amplifying the funnier original sombrero meme. Bad strategy. But the unintentionally funny Tim Walz finds none of this amusing.
This is really dangerous, and it's really hard, and I cannot express to you the concern and the absolute bafflement and fear of our European allies asking me, is this stuff really going on?
Raise your hand if you think any European allies are talking to Tim Walz. No one's raising their hand. And by the way, so says a man who acted more like a Price is Right contestant than a vice presidential candidate. Now, the Dems are so humorless and out of touch that even Speaker Johnson felt sorry for them and offered a little advice.
My friend Hakeem, who I was asked about, man, just ignore it. I mean, Gavin Newsom was trolling me last night. He painted me like a minion. He painted me yellow with big glasses and overalls. And I thought it was hilarious. You don't respond to it.
Oh, Speaker Johnson's so good. Like, a better message to Democrats, though, might be, don't kick the ball into your own goal. On day 2 of the shutdown, they're running in the wrong direction and scoring against their own team. Because they couldn't stop the big, beautiful bill, they're now holding America and the government hostage. And the ransom has gone up to more than $1.5 trillion. And why? Because that's what the squad is demanding. Go big or go home, Hakeem. They want to expand Medicaid funding to include large swaths of migrants who've abused our system. But given that the Republicans said we're not budging on these numbers, what the heck is Schumer's endgame here other than licking AOC's Manolos? Well, no clue. I don't know. I don't understand this strategy, but Republicans have an endgame, keeping their signature legislative achievement intact. Cut excess government spending, ensure illegals get no benefits, and in the process, maybe even save some local hospitals, which are getting hammered. But there's more. Because the longer the Democrats dig in their heels, the more likely DOJ-style cuts will remain permanent. Yeah, that means that Democrats will become inadvertent DOJ allies. Massive and permanent cuts of non-essential employees could be coming.
Look, it's likely going to be in the thousands, and that's something that the Office of Management and Budget and the entire team at the White House here, again, is unfortunately having to work on today. These discussions and these conversations, these meetings would not be happening if the Democrats had voted to keep the government open.
Slavishly devoted to the hard left, Democrats just can't help themselves. Their pals at the Washington Post have been sounding the alarm, though. But the party said they just walked into the trap, the shutdown trap. President Trump and his budget director, Russ Vought, now have extraordinary authority, say the Post, which agencies to close, what spending to prioritize, and even which government workers to lay off. Expect him to follow through in a way that maximizes pain for Democrats. That's the Washington Post. And you can't say that Trump himself didn't try to warn him.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Well, Democrats have just backed themselves into a corner here, so all they can do now is just try to pass the buck.
This administration has targeted federal employees. They have played games with the livelihood and the lives of federal employees. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
I think it is deeply offensive that the president is threatening to fire federal workers if we can't reach an agreement without offering any meaningful solutions here.
So as the Democrats huff and puff trying to avoid responsibility, the Veep lays down the facts.
When the Democrats shut down the government, we have to actually do a little triage to make sure the most critical and most essential services are provided. We are going to have to lay some people off if the shutdown continues. We don't like that. We don't necessarily want to do it, but we're going to do what we have to keep the American people's essential services continuing to run.
Now, that makes perfect sense. Until the Democrats end this tantrum, the government credit card will remain maxed out. It's a concept, by the way, that certain TV anchors can't seem to fathom.
We're talking about permanently firing people.
Well, I'm not sure that hasn't happened before, but if the authority is there and he sees a program that is wasting taxpayer dollars, you and I could both agree the government doesn't do everything in the most efficient manner.
Isn't that your, I mean, constitutionally, that's your job. Article 1, that is your job.
It is until Chuck Schumer decides to hand the keys to the president, which is literally what he's doing. If he makes the decision to shut the federal government down, he's shutting down the legislative branch, and he is giving the authority to the executive. That's how the system works.
Nothing like the speaker schooling CNN. No wonder faith in the media is at an all-time low.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.